That's why. Yep, that'll help. There we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Northwest Sydney. Glenwood Football New South Wales HQ playing host. Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to Northwest Sydney Football New South Wales HQ. Valentine Sports Park playing host to finals chasing Blacktown City and their visitors in round 28, UNSW. Alex Morshanoff, delighted to be alongside you for this one with plenty on the line. And as though we needed proof Mark Crittenden could make the best of bad situations, 2026 has proven it again 3 times over. Facing the threat of relegation at the end of June, a 5-game unbeaten run not only dragged them out of the rabble, but pushed them into finals contention. Now they sit 12th to start the afternoon, but could be sitting 7th, just a point outside the 6, should they be standing in triumph after the next 90 minutes of football. UNSW were in a similar position before 4 games without a win, which has left them very much on the outside looking in on the top 6, but with 3 games to go, Gabe Knoll's side have already achieved what the last 2 promoted premiers haven't: survival. And so that old saying about playing with house money is probably apt today. Let's have a look at the 2 teams. Blacktown making 2 changes from the 3-1 defeat by Spirit last weekend. Caden Henderson comes back into goal for his first start since round 20 in place of Cooper Rogers, who returns to the bench. A back 4 of Caleb Jackson-Brown, Lachlan Tilt, Nathan Grimaldi and Kodai Tanaka. A midfield 3 of Adam Berry, Nick O'Brien and Jack O'Brien flanking him. Travis Major and the restored Maxim Yej expected to start on the right behind Alu Kuol. And for UNSW, 4 changes after their 3-1 defeat at home by Olympic last weekend. Vinci, Lynch, in fact Lynch back into the centre of defence alongside Campbell, Malfara, Duffy and Pufflet all brought in. And so the starting lineup looks like this, with Prendergast in goal, Barbich, Campbell, Lynch, Vinci the back 4, Malfara, Quilligan and Duffy the midfield 3, Woods and Pufflet alongside their top scorer this season, Jayden Harb. Is today the day Blacktown keep pressure on the top 6, or can Uni thrust them out of the finals picture and keep their own slim chances alive? Stick around to find out. Thank you very much for your company wherever you're joining us, whether in Sydney, around New South Wales, or indeed the world, via the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Sunny Sunday afternoon in Sydney's northwest. Temperature has just cooled within view of kick-off. None of the rain that swept across Sydney yesterday. Almost perfect playing conditions. A pitch that's in a pretty good state. Blacktown playing their first home game of the season here a couple of weeks ago. Found it comfortable then in the 4-2 victory against Sydney FC. Hoping after that defeat last weekend to return to that finals chasing form. But they've got early defending to do as Wood strikes. And Henderson, happy that he wasn't tested early in his return to the starting team, displaced by Rogers for the past 2 months. Goalkeeping position has been one of those that Mark Crittenden has rotated this season in search of a winning formula. Seem to be pretty close to finding it now, Blacktown. Not least because of the form of Travis Major, which has been outstanding and improved in this run over the last month and a half. 12 goals scored this campaign. It's his best return since the 2022 championship. And he's facing a couple of ex-teammates today, playing the ball between them in Lynch and Campbell. Big part of that run to a grand final victory at Combank Stadium that season. Expected a bit more fire than we got in the opening game. It was an entertaining affair the last time these two faced each other. A 2-2 draw out at the Village Green. Already Jack O'Brien and Grant Lynch just having a chat as the health of Emilio Vinci is worried about, which is point of concern. They've been trying to manage him through some minutes recently, UNSW, and they're coming off the bench last week, restored as their first choice left back today. He's gone down under that challenge with barely 2 minutes played. So they'll try to sort things out there. Mind as well, a couple of concurrent fixtures and what's been an important weekend. They all are now. The title run in. Scrapped down the bottom. Sydney United getting that 2-1 victory in the late kickoff yesterday against Sydney Olympic, which has lined up a big, almost title decider next weekend. It's not absolutely that, but Arpia could wrap up the Premiership. They're second in 4 years if they're able to avoid defeat by Sydney United next weekend. So we said UNSW safe from the drop. That was confirmed a couple of last weekend after the results there. Fortunately so, with Blacktown, or with St George FC. I'll get the right one out there, get myself in trouble. Getting a victory last night, or Friday night rather, against Sydney FC. Major and Lynch, those two old teammates together, and playing smartly was Gil Duffy. He's been given a rare start today. A good piece of defending from Jackson Brown with Harb in close attendance. The second stoppage inside the first 4 minutes to check on a fullback's health. Jackson Brown's been reappropriated as a right fullback this last month or so. Come through as a midfield player. That's where he was so effective against playing for Spirit FC in the Championship at the end of last year. Turning to his junior club for this campaign after some travels across Hills United and Mount Druitt in search of more consistent football. He's got that under Mark Crittenden, but not always in his first choice position. That almost comes with the territory of playing for Crito at times. Team first mentality demanded from the players, and it's what's dragged them out of what looked a pretty dire situation at the end of June. Such has been the rise that they look as though they're going to potentially avoid a worse finish under his tenure. Only missed finals a couple of times, and that was back when we had 5 teams final series, so never lower than 6th. The second time they did it was during the COVID pandemic, the season that a lot of teams had written off to the point where Sutherland didn't enter. It's not only been consistent success, it's been only success. And so the pattern has the chance to potentially continue over these last 3 games. A draw that is helpful for Blacktown in the last couple of weeks as well. Western Sydney Wanderers in the final day, who seem to have run out of some sort of steam, and St George, who are scrapping for relegation, which is not going to present an easy challenge, but one in which they'll be favoured next weekend down at Barton Park. UNSW have started brightly here, though. That is the first challenge they have to pass. Nathan Cromaldi, who's come into a purple patch of form over the last 2 months. Another who was flitted in almost every position across the back line over the opening stages of this season. Coming out to the A-League in some time with the Newcastle Jets a few seasons ago. Woods has done nicely. He's been prominent early, and he's looking to deliver for Malfara. Not a regular goal scorer, scored 2 absolute beauties back-to-back weekends earlier in the season. He's actually starting as the furthest forwards of UNSW's midfielders, so Gabe Knowles has been impressed by what he's seen when he has put him in that position, returning him there today after a couple of weeks out through suspension. Jack O'Brien just clipped there by Lynch. Looking to establish themselves. A big slip by Berry, and perhaps that does speak to the state of the pitch, which looks terrific over the ground and is going to be conducive to some fast, high-tempo football. It's not always the easiest for players to keep their feet on. The screw-in's very much required. Players describe it to me in the past. Well, less so on Sunday afternoons, as Harb has a go from a long way out. Player so full of confidence, you can understand why. That was exceptionally ambitious. Getting back to that point about the surface here. Night games particularly, I've had described to me as like playing on an ice skating rink. Adam Berry just found that out in almost very embarrassing circumstances there. Lockie Campbell, got to be careful not to leave that ball short. Prendergast alive to the danger. Speaking of embarrassing circumstances, conceded very softly from Adam Bulgaria last weekend against Sydney Olympic. A rare error from one of the most experienced goalkeepers in the competition. Most of that experience with today's opposition. Between some time with the Western Sydney Wanderers, a short move to Sydney United, which ended because of an injury. Long had problems with his elbows and shoulders, Tristan Prendergast. Mentioned Lynch and Campbell's involvement in the 2022 championship. Prendergast was the starting goalkeeper at the beginning of the season that year, but because of injuries, barely saw minutes, and young Alex Robinson marked himself as one of the most promising young goalkeepers in the country, still playing his trades up in the A-League system now. And plenty have come through Blacktown to elevate themselves up to that level. Finchy, who is back to his feet and looking sprightly. He's looking to give Harb something to run for, although the ball was always favourite to get to the byline there, and it did. Tanaka. It's Dick O'Brien. Tanaka struggling to sort his feet out, and that combined with the pressure from Malfarra, and UNSW almost stole in, made it an opportunistic moment. Sean Woods at least showing that he thought the throw-in had gone his team's way. Jack O'Brien, Quall, and Yej turning to the starting lineup today. Their third top scorer for the season. Tanaka's ball easily claimed by Prendergast. Harb, rather than going for goal, is looking for the long switch, and he's right on the money for Woods. Tanaka close in pursuit. Nice little step over from Barbic, but couldn't find the required delivery. Still, his teammates have combined to help him out. Pufflet! Getting the start over Kevin Lopez today, and not too far from at least forcing Anderson into a save. UNSW have started this game brightly. Just on their pressure without the ball more than their play with it. It's the sort of chance Ollie Pufflet gobbled up as a youngster. Never been a big scorer of goals, but someone who's been an outlet, a physical presence. A rich vein of form early in the season. Only scored one goal since March. That was against St George City a couple of weeks ago. Jack O'Brien, who's still looking for his first of the league campaign. Looking to play provider for Yej. 2 chances and as many minutes. And both teams will feel they should have opened the scoring inside the quarter hour here. And Yej was probably slightly more straightforward. Ball that a left footer would love to run onto. Wasn't able to keep his strike down and force a save out of Prendergast. expected a game that would ebb and flow. And the opening 13 minutes have done that. Two teams with plenty of quality, players of ability that are able to unlock defences. Quilligan on the ball now is long thought as a player that could step up to NPL New South Wales level. After starring in League One for St George FC, has eventually done that. Voted Player of the Season in League One back in 2023, St George's promotion campaign. Which with a rare a player who used to find regularly in Adam Berry, and then Berry turns the ball over as well. Woods lining up, not striking that ball as he would have wished. Battles his injury problems over the past couple of weeks, or the past couple of months, Adam Berry, but he has been fit. It's been quite the level we've expected from him over the past 4 or 5 seasons in this competition. Passing radar has just not quite been as consistent. This is a guy who was finding his intended target 9 times out of 10, and the stats showed that. At stages over the past 3 seasons. Numbers this year have been a little down on that. Still trusted with the playmaking responsibilities from deep in midfield, and he picks up the ball from Lachlan Tilt here. Tilt himself, a player of repute coming out of the junior system in the Western Sydney Wanderers A-League Academy. Still finding his feet in senior football, but no doubt this campaign will have taught him a lot. Grimaldi and Tanaka just on slightly different pages there. Awkward one for Campbell, and Qualu is such a good piece of nuisance value up front for Blacktown City. Has been since he started. There were 3 big name signings that Mark Crittenden made in the middle of the season. 2 of them become unavailable to him since, and yet the run has continued. James Nikolovsky signing back over in the United Kingdom, lower league football. And Sasha Kazewski, unfortunately, going down with another knee injury, which looks set to keep him out for another extended spell of time. So promising player. Hopefully seeing him back on a football pitch at some point over the next 12 months. Yeage with a loose touch, but all's well that ends well. Feet of Lachlan Tilt, and then Jackson Brown with a loss of concentration. Just letting the ball bobble out of play. Malfara clipped by Yeage, who knew what he'd done, I think it's fair to say. Light touch enough for most referees in that sort of situation. NSW with a first concerted effort to build from the back. Neither team have looked particularly comfortable in that area, though. The direct ball from Major almost unpicked the defence. So really clever turn from Barbich to get UNSW out of trouble, and then Pufflet puts them straight back in that position. This time Campbell there to mop up. Been more sort of moments that UNSW will be frustrated with over the last few weeks. Points where their performances have looked really steady and consistent, as they were a few weeks ago against Spirit FC, their last victory. Since then they've been intertwined with periods where the level has just dropped. as so many have found in this competition this season. Every club up and down the table capable of punishing drops in intensity, like the ones that UNSW have suffered. Blacktown have largely, I was going to say until last weekend, managed to eliminate them from their game. So, he drops off first here. Blacktown have spent a lot of the opening 19 minutes defending their goal gamely, still providing enough in transition to worry UNSW, and have produced the best chance of the game so far through Maxim Yesh. Duffy. Might be a youth player, the 20-year-old, who's gone on to another club out of that academy system and been a very effective performer in the NPL of New South Wales. Tanaka with a smart piece of defending. Now he's going to have to try and help his team play out with the assistance of Grimaldi. Major and Malfarra, two old bulls coming together. Major wins out. He's happy to take the throw. Malfarra looking energised after those couple of weeks off. Herring about. Impetus with Blacktown City today. They who need the 3 points. UNSW would like them, but the likelihood of them playing finals football is already remote. Given the amount of teams they're going to have to jump in order to do so, sitting 14th, but much closer to finals football than they ever were to the relegation scrap. Another one of the oddities of the table this season. Grimaldi. It's a thought for a long time UNSW this season would be one of the two promoted teams closer to finals football. They still could be that, as Jayden Hart bears down on goal. And a very good save by Henderson. Brave piece of goalkeeping. Had to come a long way and close down the angle smartly against one of the most informed players in the competition. Hart looking to play provider. Misjudging his cross for Woods. But UNSW will be encouraged by that. Perhaps a warning to Blacktown City about just the threat that Harb offers when he is allowed that sort of time and space. Probably a little disappointed he didn't do better there. Henderson sprung off his line. It was remarkable closing speed from the City goalkeeper. But Harb, who has been so free scoring this season. 10 goals in this campaign already. Coming off 30 and being adjudged quite easily the player of the League 2 season a year ago. 30 goals in the 26-game campaign down there last year. Scored for fun. Club whose future looked under threat over the past couple of weeks. It looks as though the South Coast football and community who supported the Flame and Jayden Harb going to go under, but to have been kept alive by the efforts of the footballing community down there. A couple of tumbles there. I've seen Blacktown City win the free kick. For Qual, who has looked rather isolated in the opening quarter of this game. Yesh just won a free kick in a promising position. Happy to have him back this week. 1 goal away from matching his effort from last year, where he managed 7. Sitting on 6 this year. He's turned up 1 chance this afternoon. I think he'll be the target from Berry's set piece here. It's Major who is sneaking towards the back post. Well read by Campbell. Tilt working hard and eventually being blown up by the referee. Interesting to watch. Jack O'Brien has had such an interrupted season. First through foot ankle injury that had kept him out of the back end of last season, then came back and was given a lengthy suspension, which kept him out as well. He's just not been able to get any sort of run of games together. Blacktown's top scorer, last 3 seasons. Before that, oh, that's a risky pass from Campbell. Given what happened last week to Prendergast, I don't think he appreciated it too much. Keeps his cool and clears the danger before Qual could arrive. It was all a bit panic from UNSW, and Blacktown bringing the ball straight back in response. Tanaka for Major. Nick O'Brien in a crossing position, and the ball is not far from being right on the money. Prendergast more commanding that time around. Woods and Yej having hold of one another, and it's Woods who gets the referee's whistle. UNSW have not been shy of the fight this season. They found there's a fine line between that and running into some disciplinary issues. 7 red cards, 3 more than any other team in the competition this year. And who knows where they would have ended up had they been able to quell some of that. It's all part of the learning curve of stepping up a division, of course. Second most reds this year. Blacktown City, their opposition today. Funnily enough, that 3 of those red cards came in the opening month and a half of the season. Since then, there's been an instilled discipline to the point where they're right down in the lower half in terms of yellow cards handed out. It was all a bit fiery and frustrating at the start of the year. It's Connor Quilligan getting back in there behind his defence to clear the danger. Still pressing, but his effort was a little agricultural. Goals in both games happening concurrently already. Wollongong leading Rockdale. That's good news for Blacktown City by a goal to 0. Marconi leading Sutherland 1-0 out at Marconi Stadium. Matters for Blacktown City because it means that if they can get a victory here today, they would be chasing just the 38 points ahead of them rather than if Rockdale win 40. Leave them, well, it would leave them right on the brink of elimination from finals football, even if they were to win here this afternoon. It's all a little loose and sloppy as well. Henderson catching a bad bounce, and Harp keen to keep the ball in play, which he didn't quite do. UNSW will get a throw in any case. Travis Major conducting the inquiries into quite how that passage of play unfolded. His argument was that Blacktown should never have needed to use Henderson in the first place. Could be a costly error because UNSW have put pressure on teams because of Wood's ability to launch these balls long into the box, and he has a go at that here, knocked it on by Lynch, eventually hoisted clear by Tilt. Jack O'Brien's the outlets, and he's putting the pressure on Anthony Barbich. He's happy to just hook the ball out of play. Lockie Campbell's extra touch almost finding its way through one of the windows of the Charles Valentine building, which sits above the grass field at Valentine Sports Park. It's a terrific facility. It's a terrific run from Major. Ball lacking the quality of the first few touches. And now Harb the release. This game's starting to open up as we approach the half hour. Duffy. How's his angles and distances? Not too bad. He's taken Harb back slightly further from goal than he would have liked. Recycles with Lynch and Campbell. Futsal Rue again, playing the ball to the left. Vinci. Duffy, Harbu's never afraid of trying something inventive, and it's worked wonders here. Even though it wasn't exactly the intent, it led to a shooting opportunity for Woods, which wasn't too far away from forcing a save out of Henderson. Two best chances of this first half coming about 10 minutes apart. Yej sending the ball over the crossbar of Tristan Prendergast just after 10 minutes, and then Harb breaking through one-on-one. Had his shot smothered by Blacktown City's shot stopper. Both those opportunities coming out of quick transition moments, which is where both teams have looked most dangerous in attack. And set defensively, it's looked again dominated by defence, it has to be said. Two teams, certainly Blacktown City's case this year, have not been renowned for their defensive solidity, and UNSW have conceded 3 more than they have over the course of the year. Blacktown a little aggrieved at the throw-in decision, but they've won the ball straight back. Brian and Qual, who haven't quite established their relationship yet. It's an appeal for a back pass, and it was again ambitious. Hofflet with a clever turn, and Grimaldi got a lot of the man, but no free kick given. Physicality starting to find its way into this game, and Grimaldi after that challenge has stayed down, but Harb was offside in any case. So a bit to pick apart. Well, UNSW thought they should have had a free kick because of Grimaldi's challenge, and Grimaldi's down appealing he should have had it. Fun of being a referee. Imagine the disciplinary issues Blacktown City had early in the year. Pufflets and Grimaldi making good after their little duel. Grimaldi, during his time at St George City, was thought of as a player opposition teams could target to potentially find himself in trouble. He's shed himself of that reputation over the past 12 months. Best periods of this game, certainly to watch as a neutral, have been, we've had extended periods of the ball in play, and Team's not relying on the stop-start to quell momentum, but seen a little bit too much of that. It's been an arm wrestle there. Without wanting to fall into cliche, it's a perfect way to describe the opening 33 minutes here. I feel like a breakaway moment, like the one Harb created on 20 minutes, like the one Maxim Yej turned up just before the quarter-hour mark. He's going to open this game right up and force one or the other to take the initiative. Qual might have done just that, and he's wiped out by Prendergast, but the ball was clear of the duel. Both with eyes only for the ball. And perhaps the fact that Qual had lost his balance meant that he was never going to get the whistle in any case. To his credit, he didn't appeal. Stretching all the way to get a touch. But took the ball harmlessly wide. UNSW hearts in mouths for just a moment. Qual and Campbell coming together. Qual with a telling touch, and then Campbell just taking Tanaka off the ball. Blacktown have kept possession in any case. Berry. Major. Moved more and more centrally in the last couple of minutes. Mark Crittenden saw that contact that I did, making that point to the fourth official. Tilt. His team have still got possession after all of that. It's ended up with their central defenders rather than their more talented attacking players. That was a good ball through a couple of lines from Grimaldi, but cut off by Duffy. He's done a very solid destruction job in front of his defence today. And both teams again given a moment's frustration. Blacktown for conceding the free kick, and then UNSW for having the ball rolling when Alex Malfara tried to take it quickly. Woods trying to insert himself after being UNSW's most prominent attacker for the opening 10 minutes or so. Faded to the periphery a little since then. Last goal came 4 weeks ago in their last win against Spirit FC. When Sean Woods scores, they tend to win. Major's effort after a little nervy clearance from Prendergast. Never looked like ending up in the back of the net. Both teams have had uncertain moments playing out of their own end like that, though. Wouldn't be surprised if a goal comes from that sort of situation over, well, even the course of the next 10 minutes before half-time. Why not? Woods and Pufflet linking up very much with their heads. And finding Harb with his defender isolated. He looked to get on that very trusty right foot, but the strike again lacking the conviction of his best work. This is really giving shadows of Blacktown earlier in the season when in possession they just look without ideas at times, and then you see a ball like that from Nick O'Brien that just tests the defence. All up in support, trying to lead some sort of press. Tilt with a brave piece of defending. He's taken out by Malfara, and that has left him down on the turf. Referee right to stop play. I think he was a little lucky, Lockie Tilt, that he didn't get a free kick out of all of that. Malfara just taking his legs away from him. Smart footballer Alex Malfara, but he has got that underlying physicality in his game. Well, we've talked about some of those who've come back from big injuries. Malfara had problems with his knees for a couple of years consecutively before really making a run of things for Gabe Knowles this season. is the stuff Blacktown are trying to avoid. Say that Tilton's only just got back to his feet after a pretty heavy tumble. Perhaps he can excuse that one. Duffy. Rare for a forward for UNSW. Barely been up there. The past 15 or 20 minutes. Gage with Malfara in pursuit. Malfara's touch made it difficult to control, and then Quall just bundles over Woods. I think the referee will take too kindly to. In fact, Nick O'Brien just belted the ball away as well. Period in the game, and the fact that this one is still scoreless has probably saved him from a booking there. So the first chance really for Jayden Hub to show us his ability from the dead ball. UNSW have not had too many set-piece situations like this whatsoever. This is a difficult one to get right. He really reefs the direction of the ball too far left and behind the slew of black and yellow that were set to attack it. Hosted a few top-flight NPL matches this year. Valentine Sports Park had also hosted the Waratah Cup final a couple of months ago. Sydney United coming away with another triumph, 3-1 victory over Apia Leichhardt. Apia getting some revenge for that during the week in the Australia Cup round of 16. Fantastic tie out at Leichhardt Oval. It went all the way to penalties. Ollie Kalatz playing the hero against his old club. I was going to say the club that's made his dad's name famous. Or perhaps it was vice versa. It might depend who you ask. Barbic taken the right back position off Tim Volfield since signing in the registration window mid-season. Volfield, for those who battled through the tight and tense League One campaign a year ago. At this point, 12 months ago, UNSW were favourites to go up, but knew they still needed a slate of results to go their way. Only claimed promotion on the final day of the season with a 2-1 win over the Northern Tigers. Late goal from the now departed Jordan Morfidis. Does seem a long while ago now. They've done so well to establish themselves at this level. I mentioned pre-game the thing that the last two promoted premiers from League One have not been able to do. Both have finished not only relegated, but automatically relegated. Plights of Mount Druitt Town and now Western City Rangers is a warning sign. Set to be relegated down to League Two. The current ladder positions hold. Ooh, awkward one for Nick O'Brien, but tidied up by Henderson. Harbour said he's got ability with a dead ball. His two crosses so far today have fallen short of his high standard. Henderson, who has been put under pressure a number of times, those situations for his Blacktown City teammates, that might be one of the words that has spoken in the changing rooms at half-time is, I'd rather just have the ball to my feet, thanks. I'm going to go chasing it around my 6-yard box. To 2 months without first-team football. Alex Malfara barking at his teammates to join in the press. Sharp did, but the throw-in's gone Blacktown's way. Major flicks it on for Berry. Has he asked too much of O'Brien? No, Jack's kept it in. A well-timed challenge from Duffy, who was getting back in cover. Couple of minutes to go. Can Blacktown open the scoring before halftime? Give themselves something to cling on to in the second 45 minutes. Scored first in all but one of the last 6. Love to keep that record going. Just not been able to find a consistent enough route through the UNSW backline over the opening half of this game. Physicality and now some familiar faces has proven too tough an obstacle to this point. Forward from Duffy, touched on by Woods. Harb trying to play the return, but it was to the favour of Grimaldi, really. He's always diligent in his work back there. A healthy crowd have made their way into VSP today. Not had too much to cheer about just yet. NSW send a shock into the home support late in the first half. Blacktown had a chance just a moment to go from a situation like this. Woods with more air under the ball, and Malfarra is waiting for the ball to drop. Jackson Brown bravely out to put his body in the way. One last roll of the dice, just 1 minute signaled by the fourth official to be added on at the end of this first half. And Blacktown City might just be happy with that. Battled away, it's been nip and tuck. Neither team's been able to exploit the other and find the opening goal of the afternoon. Brian didn't know much about that, neither did Barbich, as it ricocheted off his arm and out of play. Gage trying to measure the ball for Major, and Campbell might have got a touch. In fact, he did, but prevents the ball from going behind for a corner. The game of the last 5 minutes of this first half has been exclusively played along this near touchline, and to the point where the referee's not going to allow Blacktown City to take the throw. It probably sums up the first half, which at times threatened to spark into life, but for the majority, has looked pretty sleepy from both teams. A real arm wrestle, 2 clear chances, 1 to each team. Yej sending the ball over the crossbar on 12 minutes, and Harb having his one-on-one smothered by Caden Henderson, who's made an impressive return to Blacktown's starting lineup. But the deadlock unable to be broken here at Valentine Sports Park after 45 minutes. It's Blacktown City 0, UNSW 0.
Every week, hundreds of thousands of people turn up around football grounds around New South Wales. Parents, kids, refs, coaches and volunteers. Cardiac incidents can happen to anyone at any time on the pitch.
Right now, not every club has a defibrillator.
And the ones that do are not always maintained or ready to use. In a critical moment, with a defib, that could save lives. That's why Football New South Wales, St John Ambulance and Toyota have come together for Every Beat Matters to help clubs around New South Wales to access defibrillators, cover maintenance and build a register so we know exactly where every unit is around the state. All you need to do is buy a ticket through RaffleTix. $5 can make a difference. Every ticket goes towards funding defibrillators and maintenance for clubs that need it most. A live fundraising board shows exactly how much is being raised. And every ticket you buy puts you in the draw to win a Toyota Corolla. One ticket, real impact. Help your club be ready when it matters. So buy your ticket today.
Down on the edge of the box, Kushka. Inside one defender, can he get inside two? Battling for the ball, still there for Clark. Clark plays it across, and it's a tap in for Bailey Callahan. Beautiful feed, a beautiful interplay there. Harb versus Curto. He's waited an age here, his Jyden Harb. Takes 2 steps back, Jyden Harb, and he converts into the bottom corner. 1 goal apiece. It's Jyden Harb from the penalty spot. He's on song now, Kukushka. Touches the ball back inside for Bagaria. Bagaria with the shot, low-driven shot. Oh, it slipped through the fingers! It has slipped through the fingers. A calamitous error there from Tristan Prendergast. Armanakis plays it short. Nizam, he had a chance in the first half. Can he create a chance in the second half? Got Nizam! Well, it's off the post, it's off the line. The goal is given! The goal is given.
Good ball in. Knezovic lays it to Everett, goes low, Kienese! There's the opener for the Raiders. A brilliant finish from a man in a rich vein of form. Malbassa launches it forward. Franson heads it past his keeper. It's an open goal for McGrath if he could get to it. Back across. And that's the 3-point sealed for the Raiders. Yakov Malbassa. Now Rag. Can they make it 3 here? Malbassa again! 2 off the bench for Yakov Malbassa, and it is 3-0 for the Raiders.
Marconi looked as though they were finding their rhythm a short time ago, but they've been opened up here by the straight ball. And Evans is bearing down on goal. Kai Evans! His first senior goal, taken brilliantly. Almost an ever-present since his recall. And they're striding forward again here, Manly. He might be able to double his money, Evans. Or can he find a teammate? Coop! It's 2! Disaster for Marconi. Manly are in dreamland. Poised. And he does find Bayliss at the top of the box. And then Yesic sweeps the ball home. And Marconi are alive. A hush descends over Cromer Park. And to Robillard scores. That should be the decisive goal.
Doing well to win the loose ball. Sutherland can't maintain possession though, and it's a nice ball over the top for Fowler. It'll drop nicely for Fowler. 1-on-1 with Nisic. Nisic gets a hand to it, but ball's in the back of the net. Zach Fowler opens the scoring here. Seymour Shaw, roughly 30 metres from goal. Will be Perez to step up. And it's in the back of the net. Jordan Perez, what a strike that was. Jordan Perez, take a bow.
Couldn't find the angle for a shot. Defers to Kobayashi. Peacock got up but didn't get. Will it drop here? Keeley! Spirit hit the front. We'll be happy to have avoided all those scares, but this might drop here for Peacock potentially. Lays it off. Keeley, 2-0. Callum Keeley with a quick fire double. O'Brien. Major Major deflected ball, it's in. Blacktown have their goal back. Spirit have got superior numbers in space. Alawalia, oh, it's in! Spirit have surely sealed it now.
Can we find a goal? Bedleg doing his best to try and create one for the home side. Nearly forces a chance. Does force a chance. And there's the opening goal of the night for St George City. Lucas Bedleg, 3 weeks running, puts the home side in front.
Fujita and Yamamura with a shot, and he's picked out the bottom right corner. And Wollongong have the lead. And now Tillo can carry on down the right wing. Great ball from Vlasiewicz. Still going Tillo inside. Blocked by Duarte. And Krislovic has scored. It's 1-1. Flies it over halfway. Shaked. Ball over the top for Krislovic. He's in on goal here. Pokes it past Kunyul. And have United 58 just won it right at the death. What an impact the young striker has had off the bench. But it is.
Welcome back. Sunday afternoon football here from Valentine Sports Park. It's Blacktown City hosting UNSW. And at the break, we are still scoreless. A couple of clear-cut chances for UNSW in the first half. Jaden Harb having his close-range strike saved by the restored Caden Henderson. Maxim Yesh firing over the best opportunity of the first half for the named hosts. Neither either able to find the back of the net, and those clear-cut chances have been few and far between over the opening 45 minutes. Blacktown City looking to keep their finals chances alive with a win here. UNSW, their outlandish chances may well be gone even if they do win here this afternoon, but trying to do their part in continuing the finals race, which goes right down to 14th. Such has been the close nature of the battle between the teams in mid-table this season. That ball has rolled all the way along the byline, or the touchline, I should say, and has taken Caleb Jackson-Brown deep into his own half. No changes for either team at the break. See who blinks first in terms of the two coaching staffs. Try and pull the right rein to guide their team to victory. Classy touch from Nick O'Brien, but Henderson, who was drawn into a lot of situations like that in the first half, has already been drawn out of his net to mop up some sort of danger in the second. Hard with the first time ball for Mulfarah, who's bundled over by Jackson Brown, and referee Moss says free kick UNSW right on the edge of the area. UNSW started the brighter very early stages of the first half. Blacktown had swung the pendulum back in their favour well and truly by the end. Starting again on the back foot here. Blacktown desperate for victory, knowing that Rockdale trailed by a goal to nil at the break in their game against Wollongong down at the Illingdon Sports Centre. Leave them just a point adrift from the finals places they're able to win, but that will get difficult if Harp can strike a blow to them here. And around the wall, straight into the lap of Henderson, really. Kicked up off the turf and became pretty comfortable. Struck a couple of brilliant free kicks this season, Jaden Harp. Not able to repeat the trick here. They want to find Travis Major more than they did in the first half in the second, Blacktown. He's become central to try and get himself involved in build-up. Tanaka. Berry. Looked impressive defensively, Lachlan Tilt, but his play upfield has left a bit to be desired at times. Another hoof out of play. Good close control, but pass was affected by Jackson Brown's presence. And again, Tilt with a misplaced pass. Duffy over the top. UNSW got numbers if they move it quickly. Harb just holding the pace up and getting the beating of Tilt. The delivery for Pufflet. Back to Harb. And Henderson with another heart-in-mouth moment. UNSW in transition, which is where they've looked most dangerous this afternoon. Harb leaving Tilt for dead. Not able to... Well, he picked out Pufflet. Ball hit the striker's standing leg rather than the one he was swinging at the moving ball. That's enough for Mark Crittenden to send his substitutes down to start warming up. Mitch Malia is there, second top scorer this season, behind Major with 7. It's been 2022 all over again for Blacktown in that sense. 2 stars of their run to the grand final. Pufflet and Harb combining, and he's dangerous in these positions, Harb. Not the required bends, but growing in confidence, and the chances are starting to flow more freely now for UNSW as well. They'll be encouraged by that, Gabe Knowles, the fact that Pufflet and Harb were so close together and linking up in close quarters between Blacktown defenders. That seems a route to victory. Cole just leaving a bit on Vinci as he played that ball forward. See Jackson Brown a little more desperate than he was in the first half to get to balls like that, and losing his footing in the process. Pufflet's touch not good enough to hold the ball up and keep the attack alive, but UNSW regained through Campbell. Lynch distributes forward. Vinci stands the ball up towards Woods, who got to the ball, which has just bounced wide, still in the 6-yard area. And Jackson Brown getting between Harb and the football. It took a touch off a UNSW player and made its way behind. Well, they flew in from a deep position there. Woods looked to have been picked up beautifully by Vinci. That's the ball just a little behind him. But Blacktown under the most pressure they've been in all afternoon. The visitors have come with a renewed vigour at the beginning of the second half. Looking to drag themselves out to 14. Coming into today, win, as with most at the moment, would hoist them right up into mid-table again, which is the position they've occupied for the majority of the year. Harb's quick feet have won his team another free kick, almost in the exact same spot as the one they had 2 or 3 minutes ago. Jackson Brown, the guilty party. Harb's fast feet, too much for the Blacktown defence to deal with. Kept him quiet for the majority of the opening 45 minutes. The opening 7 of the second half have been a very different story. 4 in the wall, no draft excluder this time. He does go over the wall this time, but not able to get the dip required. Just wonder how far away the opening Blacktown change is. Starting to have things move right against them. Colligan and Quoll into a battle in midfield. Connor, that is. Tom on the bench today for UNSW after starting for Gabe Knowles last week in partnership with his brother. Brian just faced by too many yellow shirts, and Vinci, in fact it's Duffy who's played the ball over the top. Pufflet with Yej in pursuit, and Yej too clever. Put his body between ball and defender. Released beautifully to find Major. Nick O'Brien for Adam Berry. Major, always a willing runner. Can he be a provider? Couldn't quite find his teammate in black at the top of the box. And Duffy, as he's done so beautifully all afternoon, sweeping in to destroy the attack. And we mentioned the change might be coming. It is now. The Filipino underage international Jacob Maniti set to make his way on. And Lachlan Tilt's afternoon is over. Through just shy of an hour. So Maniti will come in midfield. He and Berry sitting in front of the defence. Nick O'Brien retreating to partner Grimaldi. Oh, not helped by that throw-in from Jackson Brown. Goodness me. And an apology well offered. All's well that ends well. It's ended with Blacktown in an attacking position. And Tanaka, who's got fast feet, stands the ball up to Yej. Header straight at Prendergast. And UNSW had started the second half so brightly. The substitutes, whether they had a direct influence or not, immediately Blacktown stride forward themselves and fire their first shot at anger of the second half. And now starting to press with some intent through Maniti. Question the refereeing situation for this game. Thomas Dale was down to do it in the roster that we were sent through as officials during the week. Nolan Moss has taken the whistle after Dale was in charge of that game we mentioned in the first half between Apia and Sydney United out at Leichhardt Oval in the Australia Cup on Wednesday. Another referee, even at a young age, who was part of the Australian Championship contingent last season. Taking control of some big fixtures for someone so young. Been a routine afternoon for him to this point. Hoping it doesn't explode into action. There was a red card late in the last meeting between these two. Nathan Roberts was sent off for a cheeky little clip of the heels after being dispossessed in the closing moments, and a second red card of the season is the reason he's missing today. For Gabe Knowles. Babic. It's Duffy over the top, giving Pufflet something to run for, and he's got the wrong side of Grimaldi, who recovered nicely. Forced to turn the ball behind, though, and it'll be a UNSW corner. Some less exciting news for UNSW, or for Blacktown City fans more. It's that Rockdale have found an equaliser against Wollongong right at the start of the second half of that game. Marconi still leading Sutherland by a goal to nil with about half an hour to play there. Hard to deliver, curling away from the goalkeeper. A couple of bodies end up on the turf. Malfarra collects the ball, which it's sprayed out of Blacktown's penalty area, and the back heel's clever for Harb. Delivery less so. Major easily cutting the ball out of his near post. Malfarra can't keep the ball in play. Mark Crittenden and Matty Bingley in conversation. Long-time trusted lieutenant. News this week that Crittenden will be continuing for another season in charge, already the longest tenured head coach in New South Wales NPL football. Continuing for another year. Things just be mixed up a little bit in the Blacktown City boardroom at the moment. Adam Barry winning his team a free kick. There were some thoughts out there as to whether Crito would continue, but give the club an air of certainty and stability, which is what they've really made their reputation on. Talked about it a lot in the opening 45 minutes of this game, their record in terms of just making finals every season. They've done every year since COVID. Lowest finish under Crito before this season is 6th. Malfarra. Jackson Brown had to get his head to that ball and did well too. Retrieved by Woods. Vinci. And UNSW finally find that cutting edge. Vinci, clever bit of work to deliver the cross hard with an air swing. Still it might fall for him. Deflects off Malfura. Knocked down by Pufflet. Back for Harb again. Vinci, who started all of this. He and Jackson Brown both going over. Ball spills to Jayden Harb again. Brave piece of defending from Yesh. All hands on deck for Blacktown. Quilligan's delivery. Positive touch from Pufflet. Cut off by Nick O'Brien. And everybody can just breathe out again. Now we're heads in hands on the Blacktown bench. Two of those clearances which didn't evade Jayden Harb at the edge of the penalty area. And the long throw is going to be deployed to try and unpick the lock. Duffy just thumps the ball into Jack O'Brien. And between Yesh and he, done very well as players with more attacking thoughts in their minds than defensive ones to get back there and lend a hand. Another reset as Woods gets set to, in fact it's not Woods who's taking this ball out on the far side. It's Barbich's throw, not quite the Woods cut to it. Certainly not the distance in getting the ball into the box. Quilligan going by foot rather more effective. Malfura, well cut off by Jackson Brown. And can Blacktown spring forward after absorbing all that pressure? Not quite. But they're finally clear of their defensive half, and their defensive third, where they've been parked for 5-10 minutes. NSW almost taking the battering ram to the Blacktown City defence there, just peppering balls into the box, and they go straight forward again here. Woods, held up by Grimaldi. Advantage played by the referee, saw the tug on the shirts. Jackson Brown in the way again. How much can they take here, Blacktown? Been an outstanding defensive resistance, although they've invited a little more pressure than I'm sure they would have liked. Pufflet's turn. His ball short for Jackson Brown, who is happy to have it anywhere but there. Modern coaching lexicon has taken on the word suffering. So we're going to have to suffer a bit, sit in and be set in our defensive principles. Blacktown is certainly suffering a bit here, but it could be rewarded. They can continue to hold UNSW out. Pufflet, Majors back there this time. Another uni corner. No shortage of effort on Jayden Harb's part. Now he's got some tall timber to aim for. Pufflet's up there. Woods, one of the taller wingers in the competition. Quilligan towers over all of them. And the delivery's towards Woods. Quoll got the jump. And he's head to the ball. Sensing his team just needs a release from some of this pressure. Mitch Marlier is standing ready to enter the fray. Ball's been left for Woods again here. Pufflet the target, gets the flick on. Vinci with a controlled effort that, because of that, never looked as though it was going to threaten Henderson. Blacktown survive another raid. Stuck in their playing principles though, and that well, at least there was the option to play out. Commanding header from Duffy. Just allowed Woods in. Tanaka losing his feet. And he and Berry almost running into one another. While Forrest sprays the ball out for Harb. And UNSW come again. Feel the damn wall will have to burst eventually, but Jackson Brown knocks the ball over the byline. UNSW have another set piece, and so Malia's entry is delayed further. Deliveries near post. Nick O'Brien in the way this time. With Lynch running across his face. With a really good first touch, the second one not able to keep the ball in play. Molly, who's been standing there ready to go for the last 5 minutes, is going to enter the fray. The end of the afternoon for Jack O'Brien, who's still yet to find that opening goal of the 2026 campaign. So a little more width. I'd say Maxim Yej will move into a more central position. He's just having a conversation with Mark Crittenden as Blacktown took the throw there, and Moss wants it taken again. Woods was thrown away any preposition of him playing as a winger. He's very much been a centre forward in the second half, playing in tandem with Pufflet. He drifts to the right, Berry puts the ball behind. UNSW not been held scoreless in a game since their 1-0 defeat by Marconi in mid-June. That's 7 games ago. You feel this weight of pressure is going to tell sooner rather than later. Quilligan's delivery. Woods' free header. And easily taken by Henderson, who was rather crudely clipped by Lockie Campbell, who offers a hand of apology to his old goalkeeper. A wry smile as he makes his way back into his defensive position. Blacktown just cannot get out of their own half at the moment. Another ball cut off and returned with interest. Woods losing his footing. Quilligan, who's almost playing as a third centre half at the moment, but one who's so far in front of his defence that he can just press up on Qual. It's being pulled further and further towards his own goal as the second half's worn on. Into the final quarter of the game. Still waiting for the opening goal. Pufflet. Vinci for Harb. Jackson Brown, full of commitment and conviction, cuts off the ball, and Malia has a first touch that's coming on. Yej. Switch of play, which has taken Barbage out of the equation and found Major's feet. Feel that the ball might have struck Major's arm. He plays on with his old mate Malia. Committed challenge from Barbage to clear the danger. Funnily enough, with all the possession and territory that they've held, UNSW, they look best in transition, but Pufflet followed step for step there by Grimaldi and rather looking out of puff. And so perhaps unsurprising that Gabe Knowles goes to his bench for the first time. This mix of players not been able to find the opening goal, so off comes Gil Duffy, Ollie Pufflet. And on come Tom Quilligan. And Jack Fulton. Someone who would love to end his goal drought this afternoon. Jack Fulton. So key for UNSW in their promotion campaign last season. Jan Lopez were sharing the attacking responsibilities for most of the start of the year. Fulton didn't miss a game last year. It's not quite been the case in 2026. Oh, clean nutmeg from Harb. Tried to double up on Yesh, who made up for Jackson Brown's little moment of having his legs getting the ball snuck through them. Maniti, lovely touch to evade Malfarra and being held up by Quilligan, who his first intervention since coming on is probably a little fortunate that he hasn't seen yellow there. It's exactly the call from a couple of the Blacktown City supporters. Gabe Knowles turning rather frustratedly to his dugout. Berry. Nick O'Brien. Fulton will provide a certain physical presence and commitment to the attack. Plays above his size, always has. Time back with Manly United right at the start of his career, which is a decade ago now. And the flag was up against Fulton. It's come from an offside position. Blacktown City seemed to have absorbed the best that UNSW could throw at them. See if they come with a renewed push in the closing stages of this game, but I thought that if UNSW were to strike while the iron was hot, that would have happened by now. This is Blacktown City's to go and win. Tanaka, whose intention to cross is enough to win his side of corner. Ball flies out off Barbich. So after converging on the Blacktown City defensive goal for so much of the second half, Tristan Prendergast has hardly seen it down his end. Now he's going to be thrust right amongst the action. Grimaldi and Quall around him, Major behind him. And Tanaka, who we so often see deliver with his left, I'm actually not sure whether he's right or left-footed predominantly, but he's going to deliver with his right here. Won the corner. Can he deliver a telling cross? He can to Grimaldi! Clearest chance of the second half. Certainly from a Blacktown City perspective. And you have to say the best executed set piece. Only scored one goal this season. Nathan Grimaldi. And he wasn't too far from finding his second. It's the right idea as well. He just wanted to glance the ball to the back post. Not enough of a contact for the desired direction, and Prendergast happy to see the ball pass by his post. Winner looking less and less likely because in moments like that on another day just would find the back of the net. These two aren't ones who play scoreless games out too often, finding themselves in an unusual position of not having found one with 15 minutes to play. We're going to get a grandstand finish after a slow burn, as Yesh was warned he wasn't to go any further and ignored those instructions. So Blacktown Going to be pulled back despite their urgency. Seen Mark Crittenden make the telling change so many times in these situations over the past decade and a half. I do wonder if today's the day where he could affect something like that. Got to be so careful. This man's the most dangerous on the pitch. Nick O'Brien going in very firmly on Harb. And the UNSW players not taking too kindly to that against their star attraction. Oh, and Fulton and Yej getting involved as well. Yej knocking Fulton off his feet to the point there was a backward tumble. So we've yet to see a card this afternoon. Well, everybody crowding around together. There was a little bit extra from Nick O'Brien, but the challenge, certainly its initial coming together, was nothing out of the ordinary. But O'Brien, perhaps because of the altercation afterwards, has found himself in the book. And Jack Fulton, who was third man in, has also been handed a yellow. Mark Crittenden making his displeasure known to the central referee, while Gabe Knowles is in the ear of the fourth official. UNSW have come away from all of that with another throw in for Sean Woods to launch in. Jackson Brown away, Fulton full of fire. Didn't strike the ball with any of that venom. And Yeshu delivered the most damning contact in all of that. Found himself without a booking. Blacktown are keen to go and win this one. There's still a chance at finals football. They've absorbed the best the opposition could throw at them. And the throw in deep in their attacking half is going to allow the change. So Seb Hayward, who scored a first senior goal earlier this season, to take his place for Adam Berry. Flag up against Alu Quoll, who quite like Fulton a couple of moments ago, returning from an offside position. Actually, for Blacktown, a draw is almost going to rule them out here. Have to make up 3 points and 6 positions. As things stand, they're not able to get a victory here today. Those 2 additional points also important to them, and they might be facing even more here as Fulton's delivery looked more in hope than anticipation, in all honesty. Just knocked into an area rather than trying to pick out a teammate, and the ball flew skew-if off his foot. UNSW if results hold elsewhere, and that means Rockdale finishing at 1-1 against Wollongong. 10 minutes to play there. They would be written out of finals contention. Malia. For Major. Maldi and Maniti interchanging passes. Both teams needing a winner to keep their finals hopes alive. Blacktown the more likely, if they are to get it done. NSW still right on the outer, but with mathematical chance. They'll need to pick up all 3 points. Less than the last 2 weekends of the season, purely performatory. Major not able to dispossess Lynch, and then Jackson Brown clattering into Vinci. to relieve the pressure. I've seen a lack of desire. I just wonder whether there's a player out there that has it within themselves to provide the moment that separates these two. A cool winter's afternoon in Glenwood. Flicked on by Tom Quilligan. Fulton second to that ball. Grimaldi reading the situation better. Tireless Jackson Brown, Maniti. Haywood chopped off by Lynch. Inside for Yej from Malia. This is better from Blacktown. Tanaka forcing Woods to track him back. And he might go for goal himself. He lobs it into an area. Haywood! Well blocked by Lynch. Never afraid of putting his body on the line. And that ball fell right at his sort of hip height. Jackson Brown thought that the throw should have been his, right in front of the fourth official. UNSW have it their way. It's taken quickly by Hub, taken on by Tom Quilligan. Helped out by Connor. Dispossessed by Quall. Striding out of trouble is Nick O'Brien. The edge felled by Barbich. And we saw the 2 yellow cards handed out to Nick O'Brien and Jack Fulton a little earlier. Barbich is the third name taken by referee Moss. Grimaldi. Malfara closing him down quickly. O'Brien keeping the attack alive. Major has not been able to have the telling influence today. To this point, there's still time. And it's his cross towards Yej, away by Campbell. Fulton just releasing Sean Woods, who's started the game today. Still full of chasing intensity. Maniti. Haywood. Tanaka has grown in influence as the game has worn on. Ball cut out by Campbell. Quall! Saw it all the way, Prendergast, and perhaps some experience showing there. Not just beating the ball away, but able to reel it in. A watchful piece of goalkeeping. It has to be said, Quall's chance there is the clearest sight Blacktown have had of Tristan Prendergast's net in this second half. Oh, lovely bit of skill from Maniti. Major, who's favoured the right-hand side in this second half, looking to get at Vinci, and the corner is Blacktown's. Saw Grimaldi send a free header wide just after the hour mark. Will he be the target here again? Quall's been keen to be right on the toes of Prendergast. All of these situations. Yej the left footer, so he'll swing in towards UNSW's Gloveman. Grimaldi right at the top of the box. Major the target. And Malfara down, just copping a knock. And certainly that's what the referee thought he saw. Grimaldi is apoplectic. There was a touch. Grimaldi thought it was minimal. Malfara came away from the challenge reeling. How much he made of that, only he knows. 5 minutes to go of regulation time. There's been a fair few stoppages in the second half, though. Woods there. Nick O'Brien putting the ball straight up in the air. It's enough to sort of disguise a back pass. Not be too many referees who give it for that sort of touch. Tanaka is drifting further and further infield. He's playing as a central midfielder at times. Malfarra has become the screener, and Harb can't pick out Woods. Who appreciates the effort, but would have appreciated it more had it found his feet. And Grimaldi, perhaps full of the frustration of the incident a moment or two ago, just firing the ball clear without too much direction about it. Harb with a clever flick on, and Mark Crittenden with his arms aloft asking who's in attendance for Jack Fulton, who's clipped on his way to release that ball. UNSW just able to take a little bit more sting out of the game. And they'll do that further by making a couple of substitutions here. Tassitin Kuntus, who started last weekend, but with Quilligan returned, making his way out to the team, or Farah returned, I should say, making his way off, and Woods game for the fight, but perhaps a little weary-legged. So Kevin Lopez, a long servant of UNSW, out to complete the 90 minutes and perhaps play hero off the bench. And while all that was going on, UNSW had not really organised themselves to attack their set piece. Alex Malfarra wondering just who he's going to play in. He's played it to Lopez. It's worked out okay. Fulton falling over the ball rather than Maniti's challenge. And the release of Major is right on the money. And Travis Major can make his way towards goal. He's got support with him. Qual's there. Malia at the back post. Probably beyond where he could really be dangerous. Qual's touch, neither an effective pass or shot. And perhaps the delay in Tristan Prendergast getting this ball back into play suggests UNSW not resigned to a point, but content with it. Coming together off the ball between Quilligan and Jackson Brown. Play goes on, ball at Yez's feet. Scooping something for Qual to run for. Spin almost took Campbell out of it. Qual with a clever spin of his own. And the ball for Hayward's a nice one. Save with the legs by Prendergast. Another experienced show of goalkeeping. Didn't commit too early to the cross goal shot. And was well positioned. Time running out for Blacktown City to find a winner. Malia towards Major. Lynch Stewart was coming. Tanaka still might be there. Grimaldi. Oh, goodness me, it's a couple of half chances with his head over the course of the second half. Well, it was a bit messy in its composition, but Blacktown wouldn't have cared if they found the back of the net. Had a knack of that at different times this season. Making the best of situations that don't look as though they're going to end in goals, but it's not quite been the case today. Malfarra. Fouled by Qual, but not fouled. Got no big boards here. Didn't manage to catch the fourth official's indication of how many minutes to be added on, but your guess is as good as mine for now. Henderson, who's looking to keep his sheet clean in his return to the starting lineup. A couple of nervy moments, but hasn't had anything too flashy to do. It's just been managing his area and really has played the ball more often with his feet than he has with his hands because of balls like this to him from his defence. Vinci for Lopez. This might be UNSW's best attack of the second half in terms of its fluency. Harb cut off by a pair of Blacktown defenders. Jackson Brown making the challenge. Hayward the clearance. Kept in the attacking half by first the head of Lynch and then the smart to Malfarra, who kept on going through the trip. Lopez. Well, that would have been a knife in the heart moment for Blacktown had they found the finishing touch. And still it's UNSW looking more likely in the closing stages. Malfarra. Grimaldi's clearance. Is there one last bite of the cherry for Blacktown? Malia. It's the switch. Asks a lot of qual. And Vinci, with a clip of the heels, goes down. And that might be very close to it. Call offering a hand of apology. And this is taking away precious seconds for Blacktown City to find something. If this result holds, Blacktown City look as though they're going to be 3 points off the finals places with 2 games to go. A trip to Barton Park to take on St George FC next weekend. And who knows how much that final day date here against Western Sydney Wanderers on Sunday the 30th March will mean. As for UNSW, that's it in terms of being promoted or making finals football. Be on the mathematical extremity, behind on goal difference and 6 points adrift. Ahead of their clash with Manly United. Next Saturday at the Village Green, it's going to take a big victory. Tim Volfield is set to be brought on as Vinci can't continue. His is going to be very much a cameo. Quilligan without pressure, but not knowing that. It's nodding the ball straight to Grimaldi. Campbell calm with his first touch, less so with his second. Lynch thinking his way through it. Ball full of commitment and courage. Drives in, Major was nearly there. Campbell alive to his former captain's presence. On Grimaldi's slip. And Tom Quilligan has released Jaden Harb. Is this the final chance of the game? Harb and Jackson Brown, one-on-one. Harb to his left. Slammed the ball into the 6-yard box, and Nick O'Brien was beautifully positioned. Check of the watch from the referee. He's going to allow one more little duel, which Major wins out in. One last roar of encouragement from the Blacktown City support. But that is that. A fraught, frustrating afternoon for both. And Blacktown City's finals run looks as though it might have just pulled up a week or two short. UNSW with the better of the second half opportunities, certainly the better of possession and territory, unable to pick the Blacktown City lock. And so their finals race is run. A satisfying first campaign for Gabe Knowles nonetheless, with 2 games to go and still a part to play in that finals picture as they take on Manly United next weekend. Yasha's chance in the first half, Grimaldi's header in the second, probably the two opportunities Blacktown will look back at. But ultimately not consistent enough in the attacking pressure that they provided. And so, the second of the two games, just as the first was, split in a draw. It finishes at Valentine Sports Park between Blacktown City and UNSW, 0-0.